give an introduction to guidance and counseling, and I thought those are broad topics. So I came up with this, developing work skills and values in schools. And I have been introduced. Let me just say a few more things about myself. I dreamt of becoming an astronaut. That was a childhood dream. Don't we all have wild dreams, right? But then you realize later on in life, this is what I want to do. And I'm a mother to two kids. One is not a kid anymore. I have a 13-year-old daughter who loves K-pop, who loves to put on nail polishes, who wants to color her hair. So I thought, maybe she'll be good in design, but that's for her to decide. I can only support her. And I have a 9-year-old son, incoming grade 5, who's now playing Roblox. I know you're familiar with this. He wants to do beatboxing, if that's correct, and he wants to be a YouTuber. Very Generation Z. All right. So what else can I say? In admissions work, we have career development as part of our tasks or services to students. And before admissions work, I was in student affairs, and career development is very much part of student affairs and services. All right. Now, let me just share with you. Yesterday, I was informed that I was given this. Now, the top answers, we ask our students why they chose to study and why they choose to apply in Miriam College. And these are the top answers. Let me share this with you. Very interesting. Number 1, parents' choice. Number 2, the environment. 3, the choice of offered programs. And last but not the least, there are many other reasons. The school is recommended by closest friends. And I thought, well, number 1 is interesting, right? Because as we do career guidance, career counseling for our high school or even elementary students, we also take into consideration or factor in our parents, the parents of our students, because their choice has a big influence on the student's choice for their career path, especially for our for our grade 10, who will now choose the track they want to pursue. So let's take that into consideration. Let's factor in our parents. Now, when we talk about career development, it is really about school to work. In a capsule, it is helping our students match their career decisions or choices with their individual skills and interests, and knowing what our society needs in terms of work or jobs or human resource. And there's another variable that we add. It's one's work values. What is important for a person when it comes to work? So that's career development, school to work. And just a review, you know this very well. In senior high school, students are led to 4 career pathways. So they choose, and they can either go straight to employment or do entrepreneurial projects or pursue higher education or get training for middle skills, right? Now, I promised to turn off my video. I'll do that now. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, I hope it's okay that you see my face there. I can't seem to click my video. Now, the career guidance program from the Department of Education, they propose or have laid out 3 important processes. 1 is embarking on a journey of self-awareness. I'm not sure how many among the participants are in guidance and counseling. I assume most of you are teachers in high school and elementary, but whether we are in counseling or not, definitely everything we do for our students, we are already guiding them for their chosen paths. their career, which is just part of the total student development. So going back, so the first step is embarking on the journey of self-awareness. Number two, examining the destinations. I got this from the depth and order. And then I added a few items. Examining destinations could also mean being aware of the education that they're getting, the training, being aware of careers that they want to pursue, or being or exploring career options. And then third in the process would be charting your own course or career planning and decision making. And just a review, okay, we don't really have all the time to look into career guidance and counseling and career counseling, but just some basic concepts. Occupation would mean a specific job or work activity for purposes of or earning a living. Now, career is the total work experience in a general occupational category. So, in our case, we are in the teaching career, right? And maybe counseling as well or advising. Other concepts, career development, as we have mentioned, it's just part of the total development of the person. And it emphasizes on learning about preparation for, entry into, and progression into the world of work. Now, career education is the totality of experiences through which one learns about how to prepare for engaging in work. Sorry. Okay, learning about and prepares for engaging in work. Now, career guidance are activities or under which are activities carried out by counselors or advisors in a variety of settings for the purpose of facilitating career development in persons over their working lifetimes. Now, just to be familiar with career counseling activities, we do orientations, we do coaching either face to face or in groups. We do career fairs, and colleges and universities participate in college or career fairs in senior high school. There could be standardized tests, practice work, job site visits if possible at this time, career guides, whether soft copies or materials, presentations by local employers, skills assessment, orientation for parents, and vocational oriented assemblies, to name a few of activities. Now, when we do career counseling, I'm sure as teachers, we are experts already in methodologies, in strategies. But one way for us to be able to guide our students into it, to their career path would be to know, so what's happening out there? What are the new paradigms about work and career? What's the reality? What are the shifts happening, especially at this time when there are several uncertainties, many uncertainties. Now let's look at this. Well, we don't really say old, probably we'll say previously. Employment contracts are characterized by this mindset. I should be loyal, I should do hard work, therefore I'll be secure in my job. And if I get promoted, then that's success. That's an indicator for me that I have achieved success. Now, this is being replaced eventually by the new employment contract. It's not just performance, but competencies that you continue to acquire. Because it's not just about security, it's about employability. And now career success is also measured by how well you are able to position your career strategically. Okay? And a lot goes into that. Now, what are the some of the many paradigm shifts? If there are generation Xers here, then we will probably have experienced this versus, well, not really versus, but in comparison with the new workplace. From a structured organization, now we see more flexibility. And from employers taking care of employees' career, we now see employees being responsible for their own career and self-development. Before, it's getting a job and being employed, but now it's being employable or being fit for jobs or career options. And before, we say, okay, we need to be stable and secure in a job. But now that's changing because you will find a lot of job transitions in an individual's lifespan, and there could be little security. Whereas before, we take into consideration our local and national economy, but now we are affected by the global economy. From labor intensive, it is now knowledge intensive. You have an explosion of knowledge, data, information. And before, workers are instruments to produce a product. But now workers are products themselves. They are part of the resources. They are the human resource of a company, of an industry. In fact, now we call it talent, right? So it's not just talent for show business or celebrities, but talent as a set of skills. More paradigm shifts. Whereas before, you need to complete your education, but now you have to continue learning to upskill, to update your skills. Before, from focusing on product, we now focus on customer. So we now have customer service, customer delight, not just, the delivery of service, but we want them to be delighted. From focusing on cost, we now focus more on quality. From financial incentives to a variety of incentives. And what's popular now? Badges, incentives like travel, perhaps, more and so many others, no? Very creative incentives, not necessarily monetized. From job-specific, clearly delineated duties to having multitasking or multi-duties in a single position. And whereas before we are paid based on our position, now it is based on our productivity. So you have outputs, especially most of us now are in work from home mode. We are asked to report what are your outputs for the week or for the month, depending on the requirement of your schools. So now we pay for productivity, what you are able to produce, what you are able to deliver. From decision making being centralized, we now empower our workforce and there are more self-directed teams. And from an individual worker, we focus on teams, which is why teamwork, collaboration, cooperation are very important skills for our students. Now, when I mention these paradigm shifts, trends, I want you to apply it immediately to how you plan your lessons and see how are we preparing our students now, whether in elementary or high school, knowing that this is the landscape of the new workplace and this is where they will be going to. Other career trends, career decisions will be made throughout the career lifespan. So job transitions are more frequent. They say that the millennial or the Generation Z, uh, they really want to get there right away. They are in a hurry. So they want, if they're not satisfied here, okay, I'll find it somewhere in another job, okay? And there may be fewer standard long-term contracts. I hope not for teachers, okay? Now, other career trends, businesses and industries, both local and international, are expanding, merging, and innovating at a rapid rate. And this is why upskilling or updating our skills, competencies and especially among students, we try to get that practice among them, that mindset that I need to continuously develop my skills. I cannot just be doing this set of skills. I have to improve. Okay. Otherwise, they will not be able to adapt to changes. Other career trends in the career development office, we do virtual career fairs, even internships may be done virtually, and even actual jobs are done virtually. Okay. I've seen some of the virtual classes of my nephews and nieces. Well, I thought, well, they are still missing the face-to-face classroom. I hope they still get to experience that. But we do our best with virtual classes. Other career trends. Technology allows for growth of platform-based employment. This we already know. There are now online jobs available, and technology also allows for more interest and in fact now more products and creation, innovation in robotics. Does that scare us? Maybe yes, but we should remember that technology should complement human skills, but it may also substitute workers. Now, this is something that we need to look into. Let's see, will that really happen? Maybe we can look into some of the categories of work and tasks or jobs. There are routine tasks. Think of an assembly line in a factory where work is, automatic. It requires less of the critical thinking skills. Uh, so probably the routine tasks or work may be replaced by robots or automated machines. And then there's manual work that still require human skills like, for example, construction work, carpentry, but these jobs may be aided by technology. And then you have human skills that are needed to finish the task. You have social emotional skills for team brainstorming, planning, decision making, and you have analytical skills. These are higher order human skills that machines and robots may not be able to do. So that's the good news. Not all jobs will be lost to robots. Well, some jobs will use technology and some jobs will be automated. The picture here shows of an example of a driverless car, if that's a car, a truck, or a minibus. So, would you ride in a driverless vehicle? Okay, so that's the future of transportation. Now, another good news for us teachers, I just want to mention that uh, definitely we are not teaching our students to do jobs that robots can do. We are teaching them for more advanced human skills that automated machines or automation or robots or whatever technology you have there cannot do. And again, a good news, this is from the book by Andrew Mason, A Resurgent East Asia. There is a rising demand for more advanced skills. So just look at the darker blue line there on the graph. These lines show the increase in demand for non-routine analytical skills among workers. That's good news. And even with automation, we need a wide range of knowledge and skills across occupations. Let's take examples here. We have a front desk receptionist, we have a bookkeeper, and a computer programmer. Okay? And what do they need to thrive in their work? They need job specific knowledge. They need some degree of digital literacy, which is not just clicking buttons. No? Digital literacy is interacting with technology, be it a cell phone, a computer, or other automated machines. And then across these occupations, you still need social emotional skills and higher order cognitive skills such as active listening, critical thinking, oral communication, reading comprehension, problem solving, and more. Okay, now let's move to the next. Now, work skills. Therefore, we develop the skills that technology complements and not skills that technology can replace. And what are these skills that we need to focus on when we think of our students' future career? These are cognitive skills, social emotional skills, and probably later on job relevant skills. Let me share with you this slide from the World Bank. This is a Philippine setting. Among employers, this is the reported uh, data on what they find difficult to find among employees. These are the skills that are difficult to find among the potential workers or applicants. The top three, look, managerial and leadership skills, work ethic and commitment, and interpersonal and communication skills. So, ang mga industries natin, alam nila na kaya nilang ituro ang job-specific skills to the applicant, to the worker. But the three, ito ang hindi nila agad maituturo. Because these are skills that the person, the individual should have learned early on. Okay? See? This is so important, very significant. Now, people with higher social emotional skills are more likely to complete secondary school, pursue university studies, and have a job. And basic education, of which we are part of, is the optimal time period for shaping the social emotional skills of individuals. Okay, so it's a tough job for us, and we've been doing this. Now, just a quick look on this. On the left, you see boxes going up. So you have preschool, primary, secondary, and then your higher education and on the job. So as I've mentioned, when they are on the job or when they go to higher education, that is when they learn job-specific skills. But other skills, cognitive, digital literacy, and now we add to that the social, emotional, behavioral skills, we have to start them early. Okay? Now, another way to look at it, this is now human resource development in the digital age, and it is being compared to how it was in the 20th century. So you have the traditional and the digital age. In the traditional, we develop human resource, we develop basic skills, thinking skills, knowledge. In the digital age, we develop digital literacy, which again, let me say that again, it's not just about clicking buttons, but actually interacting with technology or the specific gadget that you're using. And then social-emotional skills, nandiyan na naman. Ang social-emotional skills and learning to learn. Now, in the traditional, we say, okay, turuan natin sila hanggat bata. But now, in the digital age, learning is a continuing task to keep up with changes, not only technological changes, but changes in different aspects of our human life. Third, in the traditional, there is a focus on theory, but now, and a multi-year educational programs, but now, Nagsulputan ang mga, short courses. And because these short courses focus on learning by doing, again, to keep up with the changes. And fourth, education and training have been the main responsibility of schools in the traditional landscape. But now in the digital age, even employers or companies themselves are training their workers. So what does that tell us? When we prepare our lesson plans, when we give activities to our students, these are the experiences they will experience. These are the realities that they will face when they go into the world of work. Now, let me just uh, go through the core competencies as suggested by Daniel Goleman. The core competencies of emotional intelligence, because the past slides have shown us a pattern. It seems that socio-emotional intelligence or skills are on top. And what are the core competencies according to Daniel Goleman? We have self-awareness, social awareness, self-regulation, and social skill. Let's just go to each to each of the components or skill quickly. Under self-awareness, it's the ability to read and understand your emotions and how you impact your performance and relationships, and you are able to evaluate your strengths and limitations, and it is having a sense of self-worth. That's self-awareness. How about self-regulation, self-control, the ability to keep disruptive emotions and impulses under control? We are all here in our own workplaces, and you probably have experienced, bouts of emotions, explosions of emotions, no, pag hindi napigilan ng galit. So this is self-control. And trustworthiness, related to honesty and integrity, conscientiousness, managing yourself, your responsibilities, adaptability. We will always emphasize this because of the changing situations and obstacles. And just right now, the pandemic is one big situation and one big obstacles. How are we adapting to it, and how are our students taught to develop their adaptability? And then achievement orientation. It's that internal drive na, o gagalingan ko to. Okay? And of course, the initiative. Next would be social awareness. So from the self, we now extend to the spaces around us. We have empathy. It's a skill at sensing other people's emotions. We have organizational awareness. It's the ability to read the currents of organizational life. It's about building decision networks and being able to navigate around, politics in the organization. And service orientation, which may be interpreted into different ways. No? It may be an ability to recognize and meet customers' needs if you're in business. But we also know that service orientation is about extension, about extending ourselves so that we are able to reach out to disadvantaged communities, other people who are disadvantaged. Okay, next, social skills, influence, developing others, communication, which must be two-way, listening, and as well as sending messages, to be a change catalyst, conflict management, somehow related to disruptive or self-regulation, no? Being able to manage conflicts so that it does not manage a conflict so that it does not escalate into a big argument. And then building bonds and teamwork and collaboration. I know we've been doing this. More than individual work, we encourage group work among our students. In a nutshell, ang pikon, talo. Okay?
Anytime,
Uh, alright, ang pikon, talo. This is a Filipino word. I really have no word that can directly translate it into English. But anyway, ang pikon, talo, it's unnecessarily reacting before thinking, being highly emotional, being overly sensitive, taking the matter too seriously, and then losing sight of the issue. And a person who is picon behaves according to personal needs and not according to the situation at hand. Now, we know that the ages of the students we deal with, that who are in our classes, may not be mature enough to really manage their emotions. But that's important. That's an important part of the process, no? To let them, to help them process their emotions and develop their social emotional skills. So, tandaan natin, ang pikon, talo. Now, our students, what are their situations? What is their situation now? The pandemic has is honing, it is shaping our students' social emotional skills, and the pandemic is also testing and challenging their development as mature individuals. Why? What are the realities of our students? They're staying home. They've been staying home since March. And there is a digital divide because right now access to the outside, no, outside the home, your access is defined by your connectivity, the gadget you're using, the gadget available, and of course the space in the house. Do you have that space where you can do your online work or online studies? And there are a lot of uncertainties about academic life. Even teachers, even us ourselves, we are not really sure where we are leading to, but we are trying to adapt. Okay? And there's also the fear, what about in the future? Gusto ko pa namang mag-ibang bansa. Gusto kong magtrabaho sa Amerika, sa Canada. What will happen about mobility? Not only in kahit dito na lang sa ating bansa or maybe in the Pacific, in the Asian ASEAN region. No, what will happen now to mobility? And of course, the health risks posed the by COVID-19. So these are their realities. Now, let's just look at some of the work values, as identified by early research. These are achievement or the feeling of accomplishment and comfort, probably the absence of stress at work, status, not to be recognized, altruism, about helping others or doing good. And we also value safety, predictability of work, uh, how long can I stay in this job. We know the reality now that many people are losing their jobs because not all work can be done at home, and some businesses are really closing. These are realities. And another work value is autonomy. So later in life, these are the work values that our students will develop. But now we can add more to it. What are our students, what are important to them now, right now? Probably many will say balance. They want to balance life and work. But you know what? We tell our students, there's really no balance. You are bound to put more weight on one side and then sacrifice a little on the other side. It cannot be a 50-50 balance when you talk about work life balance. But we try our best. Now, let's compare that with what employers are looking for. Okay, what work values in their workers are employers looking for? They want employees who value strong work ethic, responsibility, positive attitude, again, adaptability, integrity and honesty, self-motivation, the motivation to grow and learn, and that sense of a strong sense of self-confidence and professionalism and loyalty. So as teachers, as counselors, as advisors, we need to know also what the employers are will be looking for when they hire workers to their companies. What are emerging themes? You may want to read more on this. These are some of the phrases that are emerging now. We've probably heard them before, but they are now more true than ever. We have thriving in chaos, resiliency amid disruptions, and the pandemic is one big disruption. But we want to look at it in a way where we can adapt to it. Continuity and flexibility, and this is why we are looking for channels to deliver education, to facilitate education, because the students need to continue learning. Hindi dapat tumigil ang pag-aaral, ang pag-ikot ng mundo, because the students are growing, maturing, so they need our assistance in making sure that learning continues. Other themes, innovation, sustainability, and developing transferable competencies. What do we mean by that? The skills you have now, it can be interpersonal, intrapersonal, cognitive. When there are changes, you can still apply the same competency skills, whatever the situation will be. Okay? And there's also an emerging theme or topic, synergistic digital economy. To quote from the book, to quote, students may find that their new normal resembles what they experienced or what they are experiencing in this quarantine, the pandemic. A curriculum oriented towards flexibility that supports not only day-to-day life disruptions, but a majorly unstable and unknowable future that becomes the new normal. So, and this is not just the pandemic, we're talking about climate change, globalization, the advancement of digital technology. These are themes that have been emerging. And so the economy is also changing. And the future may be uncertain, but we have to uh, head on, prepare our curriculum in such a way that they adapt to it. Okay? Now, I'd like to relate all of this to the four pillars of learning that APNIV has been promoting, and then the work values. In learning to know, we want to promote the value of lifelong learning. What you know now is not yet enough. There are more to learn. Knowledge is expanding. And so no matter what age you are in, you have to continue learning. So if I may add, school to work, and from work to retirement, because people now who are retired, they have options to continue learning. They just have all they need is a Wi-Fi connectivity and the gadget, the laptop, and they can continue accessing knowledge. Learning to do. We promote the value of perseverance and practice. You don't just learn the theories. You have to apply the theories, you have to persevere, and you have to practice. In learning to live together, we continue to promote the values of respect, In a more global world, there is diversity, and we want to promote tolerance and respect for diversity and concern for others. And in learning to be, we promote values of creativity, which we've been doing with our students, simplicity, simple lifestyle, simple living, personal discovery, and now we add personal well-being, because you cannot work well if you're not healthy. So this is part of our a part of the human development of our students, especially now. Uh, the face mask is now part of our everyday attire. Well, if you're going out anyway. So there. Now, just to summarize, career development is just an aspect of human development. Look at the photo of a flower, which becomes a framework for an integral human development. The material goods it may be the education, resources, whatever it is that students, the skills, interests, dreams, and we as teachers, advisors, and counselors can add to the material goods so that the students will flourish in different aspects of their humanness. May it be the body, the physical, cognitive, emotional, even aesthetic, the appreciation of real beauty, appreciation for quality, and of course the social, the moral, and the spiritual. I If I go back to the slide where I showed you the top reasons why students apply in MC and the parents' choice being number one, I remember this framework, the flower framework. That's how I call it. It's like parents planting seeds. The seeds are their daughters, their children, into the ground of MC. And we, the teachers, are the gardeners. So we will nourish the flower, the seed, so that it grows. And we don't want one petal to be smaller than the other petals, because that wouldn't be a beautiful flower after all. There should be, some kind of a symmetry there, so that all the petals will grow when they go through the educational experience. Also, as I think this is the last, second to the last of my slides of my presentation. I came across Brenna Kinlan from a messenger post of another colleague in the Justice Advocates of Miriam College, or JAM. She posted this photo. Now, Brenna Kinlan, based on my quick internet search, is a permaculture illustrator. Now, I ask myself, so what's permaculture? Maybe you'd like to look into this. Permaculture is a way of living where you have a set of guidelines and you are guided by principles such as how you live, how you get resources from your environment, everything, how you consume, how you create products. Everything must adhere or follow the patterns, the natural patterns, the natural systems of your environment. Very interesting. Uh, See, the value there is that you're not just living, you're not just existing as an individual, you exist in a world, in a bigger world, and that you are in that world as well as other living things and other non-living things. You may want to read on that. Permaculture, very interesting. Many are doing it in different parts of the world. And in this photo, we look at Brenna. did an illustration on what needs to change to avoid future pandemics if we can prevent or avoid. So those have been our issues even before the pandemic. No? Factories, climate change, exploitation of wild animals, but now they are being brought to the forefront. And so we also do this for our students. They must understand that we are staying home, we are wearing face masks because of other human activities that may have contributed to the pandemic. And finally, so what is our role as values educator? This symbol has been, sorry for that red line, I wonder what caused that. Anyway, uh, we think of a lighthouse. This is also the same symbol that was explained to us as student affairs or in student affairs practice. The same with a values educator. Times may change, technology may advance, but some or all our values must remain. And just like a lighthouse, storms may come, the land may change, the weather may change, but the lighthouse stands still. It remains where it is. The foundation is strong, the light is always open, especially when it is dark. So that when our students find themselves in stormy seas, when they find themselves in the dark and the waves are so strong, they see the lighthouse. They see us, the values educator, and we stand strong where we are, and we become their guidepost. Isn't that a big responsibility, but a great opportunity for all values educators, all teachers, all advisors, and counselors? So let's think of ourselves as a lighthouse. And this is like the best time because at this time, families of our students are in stormy seas and also ourselves. Hindi lang naman sila, tayo rin naman. So as colleagues, we are also a lighthouse to our co-teachers, co-values educator. And with that, I end my presentation.